even today. Just listen to the sweeping range of testimony from this week, the first week of the Chauvin trial, including from the teenager who recorded the infamous death, or the infamous video of Floyd's death.
It's been nice. I stayed up, apologizing and apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more and not physically interacting and not saving his life.
What's down to that during that time period? Just believing. Thank you. Why guilt?
Everybody would have just not taken the bill. This could have been avoided.
Mr. Vaughn, in a minute.
Once I'm not looking at the question. At the end of the session, we'll have some time for questions for that particular session. So each session.
Zafar Ajmal ki. Okay. For 2 hours.
Yeah,
He kept.
It's the range of generations that you saw there that begs the question, what does the next chapter look like? One conviction certainly will not right all the past wrongs, but it will certainly help turn the page on an ugly history. Joining me now is Alexis Hogue, former federal defender and civil rights attorney, Jassy Ross, attorney and former public defender, and Jeremiah Ellison, Minneapolis City Council member. He's also the son of
the session is going to be
Ellison, who is leading the prosecution of Derek Chauvin. Thanks so much, guys, for being with us. Jeremiah, I do want to start off with you. The memorial or the store where George Floyd was killed has become a memorial of sorts. So I'm just curious, as we watch this gut-wrenching testimony, what the mood is like in the community on ground there.
how can we make those connections with each other, with our peers, with our subordinates, with our boss. And I want to share some stories.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Oh, Jeremiah, that's okay. All right, go ahead. We hear you now.
You know, I represent the north side of the city, which is, you know, sort of the opposite side of the city of where George Floyd was killed. But I've gotten the chance to get to know the organizers over at George Floyd Square. I know that they are desperately wanting justice, and I know folks all over the city, especially where I live, also want to see justice in this case. But to your point, I think that if we just view justice narrowly as what happened here in the criminal trial and, you know, what happens on the civil side, that's really going to do a disservice. And that real justice is going to come, and I think people know this, through much more organizing and some much needed change.
Well, I want to come back to you on that, but before I do, I want to turn to you, Alexis, because honestly, you know, a layperson like me, I'm looking at this trial, I'm looking at the testimony, I'm looking at the evidence. It seems like an open and shut case, but I know they don't need to convince 12 jurors, they only need to convince one. What do you make of
And I'm so glad Councilman Ellison framed it in that way. This is the long road to justice. And as Black people in this country, we have grown accustomed to the fact that the legal system often
Everybody's just trying to look at our
case. We have
Getting mad at
what I can say is that there was something remarkably different about the way the state is prosecuting this case. And for the first time, we are seeing the blue wall of silence crumble, and police officers are testifying against them.
I think that's a really good point that Alexis makes, Cassie. Police officers are testifying against their own. Although I have to say, I'm cautiously optimistic. It seems like, you know, every few years, it's like, okay, we'll give you this blood sacrifice, and then we'll go back to the status quo. What do you make of the prosecution?
There was a mistake in scheduling. She did not get the information of the preparation. And she did not prep. Was very, very upset and almost crying. She said, what happened? So one of the colleague mine, he's very compassionate. he held her hand and said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, we made a mistake. Please forgive us. We'll take care of that. So right now, we'll just, we'll do the endoscopy part." And she calmed down. So you realize like how you approach these people differently and with an empathy and compassion, and their behavior change. And also I remember I used to work for eye surgery center, and a patient will come to have cataract operation done. And then they will be, I will be providing anesthesia, the surgeon will do the surgery, and you will see that, there was a hand holder, the person who will hold the hand of the patient. And, you know, because patient gets just some light sedation, so they're partially awake. So at the end of the surgery, the patients will just talk about the hand holder. And they were so happy and that somebody was there and to calm her down, relax her. So they didn't care for anesthesia or the surgeon. All they were caring that, somebody held their hand and they felt so well and they were so comfortable and calm. So it tells me the role of compassion, the role of caring and kindness and empathy in medicine. And we see this is kind of like declining. I'm sure most of you are very compassionate and very, kind to their patient. You spend time with your patient. You do your best to calm them down. But sometimes we are just rushed and pushed, and we are in a scenario that we may not have enough time. We don't even pay attention, and we are on just autopilot mode, and we just keep going with things what we have to do. And if you look at the history of medicine, how medicine has changed, and from Socrates and Plato's, and that how they were quite different. One was Socrates was more like approach was rational rules and principle, and then the other one had like more like feelings and beauty and generosity. So there are beautiful actions like people can do and can make a difference. That was his philosophy. So over the years, there's advancement in technology and science, and we have evidence-based medicine now. And we're so grateful for all the research with medical profession, has done. And that's where we are at right now, and be able to take care of patients. There's, the media, the pharmaceutical industry. So there's so much input and so much emphasis in our medical school, our medical training on these things of like looking at the facts, looking at the rational part and thinking and, making a decision based on intellect and intelligence and IQ. And in that game, that process, you see sometime we forget like how when we just introduce the compassion part or the empathy part, and how these things are so important in taking care of patients. And in everyday life, I see, I'm sure, looking at the facts, looking at the realize that you have a little bit of a apprehension based on intellect, or you're thinking about the day, how's your day is going to be. You are, worried. You say, oh, I have this such a long day. I have that many patients to see and that many procedures to do, and I will be able to finish by 4 or 5. Then I have office, then I have to do this and that. So you're kind of like planning your day right at the beginning of the day, and that kind of puts you in a little bit of a mild kind of anxiety, I can say, or you're on a roll to do things, so you can just finish up your schedule and make your day easy, or you go through the day in a good manner. And most of us come to work that way. And whenever we come and say, oh, you have that many patients scheduled, you have C-sections to do, you have this cancellation, that happened, this happened, all these things starting to happen. And sometimes these things may not be in your control. And you realize that how a little bit of a change in the schedule is gonna just, affect your day, and this day is gonna be longer. So you basically have that a little bit of a myopic vision. You're just thinking about yourself, how your day is going to be. And this is how most of us operate when at workplace and taking care of patients. But you have to realize that in this profession of taking care of patients, it's different, right? This is not like you have an office job or you are a banker or you're like, have a vocational work where, or you're dealing with computer or, so you are dealing with human beings, and human beings have emotions, they have feelings, they have anxieties, they have stress, and they come to the hospital or any healthcare facility with all these feelings, and they're expecting that the providers will keep all these things in mind when they take care of them. And we have our own agenda, so sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect, and we just trying to push things around. And so this is how I see things. I've been practicing medicine over 20 years now, and I see this all the time, and see what are the things which we can do, which will make the difference in the lives of patients. And you see that how when we decided to go in this field, we wanted to take care of patients and making a difference in the lives of the patients. And during this process, sometimes we just we lose the track. And this is a reminder for myself and for all of you to just bring back that part. And you'll see the importance of that part. And then, in the first scenario, mention how if you are in a rut and you are just mechanical and you're just doing your things and doing procedures, doing work, and back and forth, and you're getting messages during and after, you're responding to your text messages from your hospital, from your patients, and you're so busy and you're preoccupied, and you may not have your 100% attention or your focus towards your patient sometime because you're distracted, and people are reaching at you at different levels. And so you see that sometimes you feel like you're very exhausted at the end of the day, and you're tired, and there's higher burnout, and you feel like, what have I done today? You don't remember because everything was so ritualistic or mechanical. And same thing you see on a floor in the ward. You see like how uh, nurses and doctors go along and take care of their patients. You have set of things to do and you're tired, and then after that there's a interpersonal part also came into play. Then you start a work, and you have to prove yourself, or you want people to trust you and to respect you. And then there's a lot of back and forth sometime conversations going on with colleagues. There are cliques, there are favoritism. He's doing that schedule, he's doing those cases, I'm better, he's less, he or she's less, and all these kind of things are going on. And that make people stressful too. And you see, and then when these providers are stressed and have to deal with all these challenges, then you don't expect them to provide high quality, compassionate care towards their patients. And so this is an opportunity for the peers and the boss to realize the importance of, the compassion in the healthcare, and how do you take care of your staff and make sure that they're not upset or they're not stressed, and they can devote fully, for their patients, their care towards their patients. And so if you don't pay attention to these small, intricate factors, sometimes the burnout is higher, and then mistakes can happen. And then you end up leaving, or, going to another place, and you start over, you see the same thing. There are clicks, and you want to be part of their system, and you have to prove yourself. It's a process, it takes time. And these things are important. And then you start over, and this process happens all the time. And this is the reason, if you don't take care of your staff, if you don't provide adequate care for them, financially, emotionally, make sure it's the right environment for them, they're happy at work, and they're engaged, then you have higher patient satisfactions, and they will be very loyal uh, to your place and to your practice, and they will not leave. That's what they said, the employees, and they don't leave a bad workplace. Sometimes they leave bad managers or bad work environment. Sometimes the environment is so toxic that it's very difficult for them to kind of like stay engaged. And also, you see when you live on this kind of lifestyle on daily basis, uh, it you pay a price for that, and emotionally, psychologically, and sometimes financially, and you're not happy at work, and you can't do your best, and you can't give your best. So now I'm going to see like what are the things providers can do to bring back that kind of like compassion and empathy model in their practice. And as I said, most of you are aware that these things are important, but sometimes we just forget. And simple things to remember, and maybe in your practice, these ideas will come to your mind, and you may end up applying that. You'll feel the benefit of that. And so the first important thing I have to say, that when you are in a mechanical mode, you're high stress, you are a nurse, and you have so many tasks to do, so many patients to take care of, so many people you are returning the calls, the doctors are calling you, and you just realize that really don't have any time to think deep about anything, and how others can expect you to provide a compassionate care in those circumstances. As I said, that you basically, there is a uh, intelligence within you. Everybody is born with a gift. And yes, you have your skills, and you have your knowledge, you have your job description, and you're good what you do. At the same time, there are gifts which are hidden, and there are potentials which you may have. And once you utilize these potentials, and once you recognize these potentials, and once you apply these small things at work, you will realize how much difference uh, will that make in your life and the lives of people around you, in your medical staff, in your group, or wherever you're practicing. And at the end of the day, you'll feel that you've done, you've contributed, and sooner and later you're starting to realize your potentials. And this is how our leaders will start their journey. And then they're starting to learn, they're starting to discover more good things about themselves, and then they bring out the best of their character, the best of their behavior at work, because they recognize the importance of those hidden gems which are coming out. And then that aspects will literally affect your life and change your life. And as most of you have probably have attended my programs, or learned that I was like that too, and starting to dig deep and learn more about myself. It's more about self-awareness, and you realize and you learn more about yourself, and then the real self will come out, and then you practice those things. You're more careful and aware. So what are the things, common things you can apply on your day, in your daily life, in your practice, which can help you to bring the compassionate care? So I'm gonna just speak to you. I'm just gonna drink some water. So the first thing I have to say, that before you come to work, have that mindset that really you can control so much, but things still gonna go out of the way, or you may not have control of other things, other factors gonna come, and things gonna change. And your day, you can control, you can organize, you can discipline, but don't just stick yourself to the outcome. Oh, you have to be done by 4 o'clock. You have to finish your schedule or work day by 3, something like that, unless you are a shift worker. But things gonna change for doctors, because there's no end time, and you just finish your work. And then, because once you have that kind of a mindset, and you coming to work with this mindset, it will give you relaxation that, you of course, you are going to do your best to manage, make sure everything goes smoothly and schedule is run on time. Nothing bad happened, but things are going to happen. Things happen all the time. And these factors, these other factors you may have to consider in your day, and this unforeseen event or cancellations or challenging patients. So first thing you have to realize that things may not go according to your schedule. Once you are so stuck with this kind of mindset, oh, I have to be out of here by this time, and you don't give yourself enough leeway or time, and then you're upset and you're making everybody else stressed in that work environment, because now everybody has to make sure that they cater to your needs. So just don't try to control the outcome. Do your best to manage everything, but and then you just do your work in the best possible way, and whatever comes, and you just do it and handle it wisely. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, I think, let's say you have 10 patients, 20 patients, so whatever your schedule and how many patients you see in a day. Remember that, these small acts of kindness and compassion does play a big role. Even a small amount, small things, getting to know our patients. When we see their birthdays, if they're close to their date of birth is closer to their birthday, just wish them happy birthday, ask them about their life, and sit with them. Also hold their hands, or this touch and compassion is very, very important for healthcare providers when they encounter patient care, and especially if they are anxious and they're nervous. And so every patient, just you'll do your ritual, you do your consent, you explain the procedure, you'll explain to them what they are to expect. But also, this is, I said, is from the head, right? But don't forget the heart, and say something, do something, so make them feel like they're human and they have emotions, they have feelings, and they'll make you feel better too. So that's the first thing. Always think about the heart when you're dealing with patients. Pretty much in every encounter, just throw something which will make them happy and relax them. So second category is that you have to see that sometimes you have a stressful situation. And as I mentioned earlier in my example, that things didn't go according to the plan, somebody made a mistake, and patient was upset and patient was crying. So you have to see that this is when people are upset, you can't handle and respond to their distress with the head, or you can't argue with them, you can't rationalize with them. Don't You can tell them, oh, it's not my work, it's not my problem, it's not my fault, somebody else done it, and it's not in my control. I'm just work here, I just work here. It's not my fault, and you're just trying to shift the blame upon somebody else. And that's an opportunity that the patient or somebody's upset, and then you just realize that how you can just put a little bit of a compassion and empathy towards them. They have anxiety, and I think that would help. So these are the high risk patients, I would say, when things go wrong, when they are very upset, they are very stressed about the surgery or the procedure or their medical problem. So you're calming them down. You recognize these important group of people. They're not like anybody else, because many people will just, they're calm and comfortable. They expect what's going to happen, and they don't expect that much. But there are a certain group of people, they are very, very cautious, and they're very careful. So we don't blame them. We don't make fun of them or categorize them and tell them, oh, they're drug seeking, they're this, they're manipulative. So we don't do all this kind of thing. We just basically make sure that you're trying to address their needs without any judgment. And the third thing also, God forbid, when there's a mistake or there's a medical error, I think the compassionate medical care will help you to develop that kind of rapport and relationship with the patient, that they're at ease and they're calm and comfortable. They're on your side. If things happen, you explain to them, especially when you have a bad news to share with them about their medical condition. I think you make sure that the environment is right, you're dressing the patient in the right fashion, and also don't forget the family. Family is there with the patient, and they're waiting, they have to go. If things are not running on time, keep them posted. I think that can create a lot of stress in people's lives, especially in the time of pandemic now, because families are not allowed to come with patients. And just keep that factor in mind too, and just address all these needs. So in summary, in nutshell, I have to say that, you do things from heart. The rationalized approach and thinking is very, very important and very beneficial. But at the same time, don't forget to throw some kind words, establish some relationship with patients sincerely, not just, uh, fake or trying to just say the same things which really doesn't matter, or you're talking about the weather or all these things which you're trying to calm them down, but it's not sincere. They can see that. And then address and see the high risk patient population, pay attention to their needs. And also in your group, if you're in the operating room or 3 or 4 people are in the room, some person should take a role of the heart, and because everybody is doing their best to take care of the patients from the head standpoint, from the medical point of view. But some patient, somebody will be there just to addressing their needs. And I've seen most of you do that, and I've seen very kind nurses, very kind techs, very kind doctors, who take their time. But these things come into play, and these things I see sometimes that you don't want to miss these opportunities, because what will happen if you spend your days, if you live your life like that, then at the end of the day, you'll feel that you're more calm, you're more relaxed, and you're eager to go back to work, because you realize that you've done something and make a difference in the lives of people. This is how medical professionals and medical practitioners are supposed to practice. And I see this art is kind of healing is dying or slowing down in our fast-paced practice. So I want you to be cognizant of that and address those needs. And so now I'll just finish the program, this session. If you have any questions regarding this particular program, please share on different platforms, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Zafar. This is Zahid. Can you hear me?
Do you have any question? Anybody has question on YouTube or Facebook? So we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll reconvene.